Okay, good morning. Welcome to the last session of this summer internship in Computational Nuclear Astrophysics 2025. It was a great learning journey so far, and today I'm gonna try to conclude it. So today will be an extended session. Okay, I have a lot of information to give it to you, like in bits and pieces, but I will try my best. Okay, so let's start with something. So I have like plenty of things to discuss with you. So let's start with the presentation guide. I created a presentation guide. So in the next week we are gonna have presentation from you guys, right? So we planned it and we came to some conclusion that the first presentation batch will be on July 2nd. Okay, and these are the names, and the second presentation will be on July 4th. We can also move it to July 3. It is up to you. If you can do it, I am fine with it. Okay, so yeah, so what about the presentation, what I am looking for? Okay, so the presentation is basically obviously the fancy name capstone presentation. So the purpose of this presentation is to help you prepare a clear, professional and well structured Beamer presentation for the final capstone talk on neutron star physics, and your talk should demonstrate both your understanding of physics and your ability to communicate it effectively. So the presentation is very important. You have to put a lot of effort. That's why I am giving you like 7 days or 5 or 7 days. Okay, so the total time of the presentation should be around 30 minutes. This is a suggestion. You can conclude it in 15 minutes, but I suggest you to at least go for 30 minutes. So 15 minutes are for those participants who are new to these things. Okay, they are from maybe arts background or something. There are a few participants, or they don't have a prior experience. Okay, so the presentation time is 25 minutes. You have to cover everything in 25 minutes, and question answer session will be 5 minutes, and maybe more than that. It depends upon the discussion, right? And be prepared for any question from the topic you have learned so far in this internship, and you could also be asked to do some live coding demo. So don't be afraid. I will ask you the thing which are simple and you can do it. Okay, so be prepared whatever you have learned, no pressure at all. But remember the thing that show only stuff on your slide which you know, which you can talk about like for 2-3 minutes or in 2-3 lines. Don't show anything which you cannot explain. This is not a good thing. Anyway, so the presentation structure is recommended. You can go through it. I am not going through it line by line. Okay, so this is very obvious here. Yeah. Okay, I just wanted to talk about tips for a strong presentation. See, I am not a master of presentation, but still I just want to convey something. That introduction is a very vital part in your presentation. So you have to build your story around that. You have to spend like 5-10 minutes on that only. So give an extended presentation, introduction, right? Just build a story out of it, that what you want to convey in next 25 minutes. See, people are not interested in your mathematics, not interested in your plots. Okay, they are more interested in the motivation and introduction. If you can keep them there for like, if you spend like 10 minutes good on your presentation, then you can keep them there for your entire presentation. Okay, so do not overload slides with text. Keep bullet points short. You can make a notes on your copy or you can do something else, but on the slides there should be a minimum text with lots of figure, not lots of figure in a single slide, but you know, the figures should be talking. It should be more figurative thing in your slide, and you should be talking, explaining all those things. And then use plots, diagram and equation should be minimal, only if it is required to engage your audience, right? If it is a research talk, like typical research talk where you want to, like a group meeting or something, you are touching, you are teaching or you are explaining your code in detail, like every line and all this thing, then you can go through that. If it is for general audience, I would always recommend that, okay, only stick to your main motivation results. Do not show any equation, only equation which are like which cannot be avoided. For example, TOV cannot be avoided, pressure or energy density cannot be avoided, something like that. But in this presentation, you need to put equations of Velechka model and all those things which I have written here, right? So you have to put all those things, yeah, equation and implementation. So you have to show the minimum thing here. You don't have to explain all the things, right? All the Lagrangians and stuff. Maybe start with the basic one and just explain. It's up to you how much you can put. And then speak clearly and avoid reading directly from slide. It is a suggestion, right? You can read directly from slide, but try to practice it again and again so that you have a fluency. Okay, so you don't have to think before, you know, whatever is written in the slide, you just don't have to read it from there. So practice the timing of your talk. Another very important thing, you guys can have a, you know, private session with yourself. You can practice your talk between yourself, right? Time yourself, give suggestions to yourself, always all these things. And always cite your sources whenever you are putting some plots, or if that plot comes from your work, it is fine. If that plot is from some other work or some other website or something, you should put the source, right, for diagrams and plots. And keep notation consistent and define all symbols. Symbols are very important. People wants to know whatever you have written, right? So if you are using NB for baryonic density, it should be consistent throughout the slide, right? And ensure figures are readable. Very important in the presentation. Okay, figures should be readable. The axis should be there, and colors should be great. All these font size and all those things, it should be like visually appealing. So don't put like much effort, it should be like minimal. And last but not the least, only show what you can explain using 2-3 lines. For example, someone asks you about mean field approximation, you have put mean field approximation, but you have not explained it. Someone will ask you what is mean field approximation, so you might get blank. So you need to put only those words in the slide which you can talk about like for 2-3 lines. You have a story for it, you have explanation for it. If you don't have it, just skip, but you cannot skip the important parts, right? So you have to learn about mean field and all those basic stuffs, but you can avoid some advanced stuff or intermediate. Okay, the next thing, so there will be a evaluation rubric. Okay, so for your each of your presentation there will be a evaluation rubric, and I will create a Google form and it will be shared to all present there, and they will evaluate you. Okay, and you don't have to worry, the final evaluation from me and the mentors, not the mentors but the other teachers from my college. But you guys can also give yourself some points like, okay, I judged you by this, but you don't have to take it personally. It is like a more like a, you know, peer group thing, like where we are giving suggestion or comments to each other. So if you get a you will not get to know, I guess, who submitted this rubric for you. I will think about it, but you don't have to take it personally. It is just a good exercise to learn from each other. Okay, and whosoever gets the highest points, like first 2-3, I will stand them out. I will put them on the website. I mean, I will put everyone on the website. Okay, and what else? Presentation skills, this is everything. I mean, you can go through that. And final note is, this is your chance to showcase the skills you developed during the internship, scientifically and professionally. Treat your slides like a mini paper and delivery like a mini class, right? So this is the presentation I was talking about, Beamer presentation, but you also have to submit the report. It is not a difficult task, right? If you have a presentation ready, you can convert it into the article like in maybe 2 hours. Okay, you can do that. And I know it is overwhelming, this entire month is overwhelming for you, and I also understand, like, you are also going through all other summer internship and you also want to enjoy your summer vacations. But I just want to say, like, this is very important, the presentation. If you put efforts in this presentation and give it your best, you will remember this for your entire life, right? It will help you gain something. So put your maximum effort in this presentation, and it will carry through all through you all the it will carry through you for all the future conferences. like wherever you go it will carry through you. Okay, so that was I wanted to talk about the presentation guide. Okay, so that was the first thing I wanted to talk about. Now I want to cover some mini concept that I wanted to do. Maybe I should have done in the previous class, but there were not many students. But we can do it today, right? So I'm gonna touch now how to use bash to run Python code, like parallel Python code, not parallel but one by one, and how to get superpowers in the terminals so that you don't have to write everything on the terminal one by one. And the second thing I'm going to talk about is sbatch, how to submit your jobs on the cluster if you have some supercomputer access. And then I want to talk about LaTeX bibliography. So this is the first part of the presentation today that I'm going to cover and in the later part we are going to touch physics and we will go through all the equation of state and all those stuff, and at the end I'm going to end with the career in astrophysics thing. Okay, so let's start with the bash thing. Okay, so let me open my VS Code and pin myself. Come on. Okay, I pin myself and now we can quickly go through the VS Code, right? Okay, let me open that. Okay, so what I wanted to tell you is about bash, sbatch and bash is in the Python loading. Okay, I have already uploaded it on the Google Drive. You can download the bash folder and you can play with it, but let me just go through my bash script. Okay, so this is run all together .sh. Okay, there is only one .sh and run argparse. Okay, if you remember when we did this argparse thing, so this was the example. Okay, the argparse thing, when you can control your variables from the terminal itself, right? You don't have to put the variables inside, you can pass your variable from the outside so that you have like superpowers in the terminal itself. You can change some variables in the terminal itself. Okay, so we remember, if you remember, like we use this command to execute in the terminal, and by using that you can basically change the variables here. For example, this exam score is an argument that is passing to a variable hyphen y call. Okay, we did that thing, but is there any other way we can do that? Yes, there is another way. So how can we do that? We can create a bash script which can do this for you. Okay, so how can we do that? First of all, the terminal is based on shell script, right? The terminal itself is a shell script. So what we do whenever we write ls, we executed one command cd something, python maybe. Hey, I think I missed the part where you told about. Where is the chat? The presentation topic is in the, I have recorded this, you can visit that later on. Okay, where was I? Okay, so what I was saying is, like, you can play with the terminal, right? These are the bash command which I am executing right now, or command line interface Linux commands, so which is based on the bash script. So I go inside cd python. So basically I am executing a series of command line by line. So can I do it like all together? Can I do something like that? Yes, I can do it if I have a, if I can write a bash script. Okay, I can make that bash script executable by using chmod plus x filename.sh, and then I can run it using dot back forward slash filename.sh, right? So I want to do this argparse thing again. So I have to go inside the right folder first. Okay, I am here, and now there is a run argparse.sh. What is written inside? This is a shebang which basically tells where to look for the bash compiler. Okay, and then we have like, okay, how to use this thing. So I will just copy it. So I wrote it here. So what we are doing, so we are running forward slash run underscore plot dot sh, and then I am passing arguments at first position, which is the first variable, that is sample underscore data dot csv, which is the file path, and then we have sleep hours as a column, x column, and then we have at second place y column, and this is the argument we are passing. If I enter that, okay, there is no y. Maybe I changed the name. Yeah, I changed the name. So what did I do? I have changed the name. So I have to be smart. Run argparse. Okay, if I do that, I press enter, then it is plotting something, right? It did all the things, like it went to this argparse example.py. It basically executed this Python command. So I executed the same Python command using bash script. So I put in another layer. So what this particular bash script is doing is, like, it is executing, it is echoing. Echo is like print the CSV file, the x column and y column. Okay, and if it is good, exit 1, that return 1. And what is file? File is on the first argument, x column is on the second argument, y column is on the third argument. What does that mean? So whenever I am writing come on. So whenever I am writing something like this, after I write dot forward slash run underscore argparse dot sh, which is the file name, after one space, if I put something which is a first variable, like you can put a first variable, then space the second variable, then space the third variable. So this is something in the bash, right? So you can do that. And so these three variables can pass. I collect those variables from here 1, 2, 3, and I put them here 1, 2, 3. I put them in file, I put them in x call, and I put them in y call, and eventually they pass through this file, x call and y call. Now they are variables, right? So when I do that, when I run the bash command, so it basically executes that. So this was a minimal example. I can give you a more solid one, like how a bash script can help us with multiple things. Like if I want to run like series of Python script, I don't want to do like, okay, let us do something like that, Python file name.py. This is just an example. Okay, I executed one thing, then again I want to execute Python, okay, file name 2.py, enter. I want to execute a series of command. But is there, if I want to do it like all together, it is not like I will run them parallelly. It is like I want to create them, I want to execute them line by line, okay, one by one. How can I do that? So I can create a bash script. I can put my all the files which I am interested in, right? So for example, this is a bash script where I will run all the Python, all different Python files which I am interested in one by one. So how can I do that? I can do that using bash script again, and bash has like itself is a programming language. You can see there are like different ways we can handle dictionaries, arrays, cases, for loops, while loops, and all those things, if else condition, all those things. So there is a proper syntax for these things in the bash script. Okay, again we started with the shebang, and this is just the description, and you define some color. In bash you have to define colors. Okay, so why I have defined color? Because I want my terminal to look fancy. Okay, and when I have like colors in my terminal output, I can also distinguish between things. So red is how you define, green is how you define, yellow is how you define. Then you have to define the reset thing, which is no color, because in bash, like if you start a color, then you have to end it. It will not end automatically if you jump to next line. So you have to define something called no color. Okay, and then we define a list, which is a simple array. We associated case 1 to something, some command. Okay, let me just extend this. So we associated case 1 with some command, like after this line. Okay, so we associated it with this some command, some Python command. Similarly, case 2 computer stat, we associated with to some command, and case 3 we are also associated with some Python command. Okay, now I want to loop over these commands so that the shell scripts runs them one by one. Okay, first it runs this, second it runs this, third it runs this. Okay, this is what I want to do. So I can also write simply, like instead of doing all those things, I can also write like, okay, echo this, echo this, echo this. That is a very simple minimal example, but I wanted to demonstrate it with you using for loop. Okay, so what for is doing here is, so I created a variable entry. So what I am doing is, for each entry in case @ means everything whatever I have in this. Okay, do this. So for entry is a variable. Okay, in case, in all these case, for all the variables, for all the list elements in the list, do something. After this, yes, split string by delimiters. What it is doing is, right now it has created a variable ifs. Okay, and it is splitting using this delimiter. So I have a delimiter here. So what it is doing, it is taking the entire case and it is splitting these by this delimiter, and it is carrying everything after the delimiter. So it is extracting information from it. Okay, so when it is extracting information from it, so what it is doing, it is echoing that thing in this line, and obviously in the next line it is evaluating this as a command. So I will run it, you will get to know things better when I run it. So what I will do, I have already made it executable, so I can just run all together sh. Okay, so what it is doing, it executed the first case, which is the Python 3 argparse example.py, and this whole thing which we already did, and then I close this. When I close this, it executed the second one. So what is the second one? The second one was Python 3 3d_plot.py. So it executed the second one. Now it is still executing because the plot is showing in the interactive window, and I closed it. Then it executed the third one. So what is happening, basically it is executing those commands line by line. So this is a bit typical example, bit tedious example I would say, because it involves the for loop. So again what it is doing, it is extracting the information from this line. After delimiter, it is extracting everything. Okay, and then for each for case, for each entry, it is printing something, it is echoing something. What it is echoing, you can relate right and left. So it is echoing yellow. Okay, yellow. And what it is echoing here, executing case 1. So whatever where is that, executing case 1, and what is inside, it is description, and it is splitting using delimiter. So whatever in the left side, it is going in the description, and whatever it is in the right side, it is going in the command. Okay, so whatever is the left side, it is going in the description, and whatever is on the right side, it is going in the command. And why there is NC? Again, NC is a no color. If I don't put no color, it will not, the yellow will not stop here, it will go all the way. Okay. So there are two print statement I am printing for each for loop. One is executing case and second is success case. So success case is printing here. Okay. So this is how we can run a multiple Python script in using the bash. So this is a minimal example again I would say, but the power of bash is something like I can show you some demonstration, right?
So to convert that 3D into real 3D model, should I use another thing?
Sorry, can you say again?
Like that I use that 3D CSV that is just in a 2D model. So how to convert it into real 3D?
That is not a 2D model. Okay, let me run that again. It is a 3D.
Yeah. Oh, it is 3D.
When you, okay, the thing is when you do Jupyter notebook, okay, the Jupyter notebook can only show 2D, but when you are executing in the terminal itself using Python space file name dot something, then you can interact with, if you are opening it in the interacting window which looks like that, then you can play with it. It cannot happen in Jupyter notebook. Okay. Okay, anyways, I hope I answered your question. Okay, so what I was telling is like this is the way you can execute line by line some commands line by line. So let me demonstrate you for like for just for the demonstration purpose. Yeah, I can do that. So what else we can do from that? This was a minimal example, but I will give you something so that you can have the real power of something. So we can define, like in a bash script we can define variables, you can define list and all those things, and from those list you can define a like a code, you can define some looping structure to update your input file of the any code you are interested in running, right? So by this you can create multiple copy of your input configuration, and you can use that in multiple configuration when you run your your code in the supercomputer. So if I don't want to spend much time here, so what it is doing is my sh, what it is doing is the shell script. So I have a input file, okay. So this is my input file, the total input file. So it has like lots of variables which I can control in order to get some output of the code, right? So if I want to do something else, if I want to not put hyperons in my system, I will do no hyper one, okay, something like that. But I don't want to do it manually, I want my bash script to do it, right? So how can I do it? I can create a file, okay, with the variable itself, like lapton is a variable now, this flag is a variable now, masons is a variable now, and all those stuff. I can create a multiple variables in my input file and I can update it through the bash script, okay. So I can update, this is what this bash script is doing, it is creating multiple copy of that input file, and using that multiple copy I am running it again and again. Otherwise what I have to do, if I don't have a bash script, what I have to do, I have to write it, I have to do it manually, like every time I want to change some configuration I have to do like one, and then I will do make run and all those stuff. It will be very tedious for me, it will be very time consuming. So it is better like if I can build something like a bash script and I code it once and then I just have to press a button, it will do everything by its own, okay. So you will get to know more if you start using it, okay. So this was about bash script, and now let us move to the sbatch thing. Okay, so what is sbatch? First of all, similar to bash, like bash can also help you run multiple programs at once, execute multiple programs at once. But SLURM is something, sbatch is something which by which you can execute commands in your supercomputer like Linux server or somewhere. So let us go through the Linux presentation. Where is that? Cluster. Okay, when you go to cluster, deliverable cluster, there is a presentation like where I have told you how to run your code in the cluster. Like I will just tell you how to use SSH cluster here. I will show a minimal example where I basically run the code. So what I gonna do here. So first of all, I will log into my SSH cluster. So how do I do it? So for that you should be obviously you should know your cluster address. So I know mine. So let us do that. So I open my terminal, I did SSH, okay, and my username is this, and my cluster is okay. I have the access and I use this, okay, and now you can see it is asking for my password and I put my password. So it has opened. Okay, so now I am in the cluster. So if you already have some cluster access, that is fine. If you don't have, you might get it in the future whenever you join some institution, right? So cluster is a supercomputer, like a big workstation where you can, which has a superpowers like big hard drive or big RAM, where you can run your task and you can also parallelize your task, right? So I am in the cluster which is located in Kent State University, Ohio, and I had to connect to VPN in order to access that. Okay, so this is the thing how I log in to my cluster, right? And now I want to interact with my cluster. How can I do that? I have some files in my local machine and I want to move it to the cluster. Okay, what was that?
Sir, anyone can join or just for you that?
No, this is just for me. Oh, today the Google Meet is complaining. Call will end in 15 minutes. Okay. Anyways, let me go back to that. Yeah, not anyone can join. It is like specifically linked to me. So this is for demonstration, right? So I was telling you that how can I communicate my local PC to the cluster, like the server machine. So there is one way in Mac and there is one way in Windows, which is the software for Windows is WinSCP. You can download it, you can configure it, right? And for Mac it is CyberDuck. So I have a CyberDuck here, okay. So it is already connected. So let me just disconnect it. It is a free software, okay. So I put open connection and I will first of all select SFTP SSH file transfer protocol, okay. So this is the protocol by which you can communicate between two computers, one with cluster and one with your local machine. So I put my server address and then I put my username. So it is auto saves, it can just communicate. Okay, when I do that, it takes some time. Okay, login successful, listing directory. So when I do that, so I have already put my code in this. Okay, so my code is already there and it has so many things. Okay, and now how can I run my code? First of all, I go to terminal again. Okay, when I go to my terminal, I see do ls and I can see, oh, cd, I have some folder and I use the I execute the same commands. Okay, ls cd thermal cdft. Okay, so now I am in the folder where my executable is located. So how do I run my code? It is make run. Okay, so you have to trust me, this is how I run my code. So when I run my code, it starts doing something, right? So this is the way like I am running my code manually, like I run in my machine. So if I run like that, if I do like that, make run, so I have to stick here. I cannot close this terminal and go to some other place and work on something. No, if I go somewhere, the session got logged out or terminated, then this all process will go down. So what I can do, I can execute this using shell SLURM script, right? SLURM script is, or sbatch script is something by which I can submit jobs on the cluster itself. So how do I do it? So let me go out of this, okay, and let me do ls, and there should be a slurm script here, slurm single execution batch. So let me just open that, vim slurm single, okay, sbatch. So when I do that, you will see this sbatch script where like lots of things is written, and I can just go to my VS Code where I have the same script but in a more detailed manner. Okay, so what you can do is you can relate left and right. So this is just for you to know like what different line means. So yeah, so you can see here, where is that? So it is not understanding the hash thing here, it basically commented it out, but the sbatch does understand it. So you have to relate with me. So let us go through one by one and then we will connect. So this is also based on the shebang, the bash script. And how do I tell my sbatch, like how I want my code to communicate with the computer, right, the supercomputer. So I have to tell them, okay, what is the account of sbatch, what is the partition in that particular supercomputer, what is the partition I am interested in, on where I want to submit my job, do I have the access or not, and all those things. What is the job name I wanted to put? So this is a customized thing, you can put whatever you want. This is something you will get from your administrator, and these are some other technical stuff like how many nodes are there, how many tasks are there, cups per task, what memory size you are interested in, how do you want to see your output, errors, and all those things. So you can just make it as a default thing, you don't have to tweak it. Okay, then you have something called mail type and or fail, like if the job is completed, you want to send email to you that okay, I submitted a job like few days back, and if it is completed now, I want to get some notification, you can use that thing. Okay, so this is what slurm script is. So you can, so there are some like default commands, okay, so default lines, but there are some something you can change, some variables you can change. Okay, now next thing is like what you want to execute. So I want to execute, I have to enter in the insert mode, then I will write here whatever I want to execute. So right now I want to execute a simpler stuff which is make run. Okay, I want to do that, and when I put time in front of that, it will give me the time, like how much time it took to execute it. Okay, so at the end of the completion of the job, it will show the time. So you can just remove it if you don't want it. Okay, it's up to you. So I put time here, time space make run. Now I want to display something. So what I want to display is echo job completed. So whenever this process is completed, like it executes line by line, so whenever this process is completed, so it should echo job completed, like print on the terminal, but I don't want it to print on the terminal. I want to move everything on the terminal to what, some text output dot text. Okay, this is how I move my text from terminal to dot txt or some, and I want my compiler, the job submission, to sleep for some time so that it is ready for the next thing. And then I can also put some information, and I can also print the slurm job id. So every job has a unique id. So this is all about this slurm script. I can just exit from that Okay, so now since we already made a SLURM script, okay, we have all the information, so this is the time to run the job. So how can I do that? Okay, so the way is, you have to write sbatch and you have to write your script, whatever script you are interested in, and you just have to do this. So when you do that, when you do sbatch and then you execute your script, your file name, and you execute your script here, and you have submitted the job, which number is 18646. Okay, now I want to see the job, like whether it is done or still it is under process. So how do I do it? sq, okay, my username. So I have submitted a job 18646, which is this, okay, and I submitted it 28 seconds before. What is the node I am using? One node list is Quark. Okay, what is the name? Thermal meson. What is the user? So all the information is there. So this might take, I don't exactly remember what I executed. I just put it for demonstration. So it might take few minutes, few months, few hours. It depends upon the code. But this thing I think maybe take like 30 minutes or something. But the point is, I can submit more jobs. I can submit parallel jobs. I just have to modify my sbatch script, right? But you guys can play with that. So let me go back to my PDF. So I told you about how to submit jobs using SLURM. So you have to do sbatch, then job name dot sbatch. So you need to have this sbatch. So I gave you a sample here, single dot sbatch. Okay, whenever you want to just execute a single command, you can also do for multiple. I can also upload that. Okay, and then so how can I monitor my job? So I just told you, you have to do sq-u username, and that will display you the jobs the currently you are running. Okay, and I want to cancel this job. I don't want this. I somehow I mistakenly put it. Okay, then how can I do it? I have to do what? Cancel job id. What is the job id? The job id is 18646. When I do that, it cancels. How can I check again? This. So there are no jobs anymore. Okay, so this is how you do it. So you cancel the job and you basically, yeah, you are done with everything and you have to exit the cluster. So how can you exit the cluster? You just have to write exit. Now you are out of the cluster, right? Now troubleshooting. There will be some problem. Okay, you have to go through that. It will complain if there is no logs folder in the directory. For example, if you do ls here, oh, now I am outside. I have to go inside again. Or I can show you here. In the CyberDuck, it is, you can see this. So it is the same thing which we were doing in the terminal itself. Now it is GUI. Let me see the Google Meet. It is still active. How much time I have? Call and soon. Okay. Let me give you guys a different meeting link.
Sir, in Muses, how can we use that?
In Muses, how can you use sbatch?
No. Last time you show how to use Muses, so I'm asking.
That is the second part of this presentation. Just wait for half an hour. Okay, we can continue. So I was almost yeah. So I was talking about CyberDuck. So CyberDuck is showing me the file explorer, whatever I have in the cluster. Okay, so this is generalized code. I just have one folder, and under that folder I have thermal mason. Then I have something like this. Okay, so make sure you have created this logs folder. If you have not created this log folder, you have to do it using a make dir wherever is your executable script. Okay, if you don't do that, the when you execute this slurm single .sbatch, it will not give you any error. This is a drawback. So you have to find, when you have no error, how would you know what is the error, what is the problem? So make sure you have created this log folder. If you have that log folder, your job will be submitted. Okay, so this is one thing which I faced, and I have put it here in the troubleshooting. So in whatever way, whichever code you want to run, if you want to run some Fortran code plus C++, the way you you know run it in your computer, you can do the same thing. But if you want to go away with something, you want to shut down your computer, then you have to put a real job in the terminal, in the cluster itself, right? So how can you do that? Using SLURM. So these are the uh, path you have to take in order to submit job in the cluster, right? I hope it was helpful. So now I can also upload a file, so that I am done with it. Like how to run parallel things, I'm not going to cover that, but just for the completeness, you guys can check that out. Okay, 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 okay. Okay, this is for parallel. Okay, so the only difference is for the parallel you have to define some task id, which basically deassociate with the execution syntax with like different numbers. So I don't want to cover that right now, it will be tedious for us. Anyhow, you can play with that. Now the next thing I wanted to cover, which is very simple, is the bibliography. It will take like 5-10 minutes, that's it. Okay, so let us go through that. Bibliography. Okay, so far we have covered everything about LaTeX, okay, more or less. But now let us cover the pending thing in LaTeX, like how to put bibliography. So whenever you are gonna write the LaTeX file, you have to finalize the article for this internship, like Newton star and all the stuff. Then you have to put the references as well, right? So for that, okay, wait a minute. Okay, so you have to put it like that. So you can see I have cited some of the references here. So how do I do it? Let us say I don't have anything here. Okay, I just put it like that. So I recompile it, it will not show anything here. Okay, but it is still showing the references Why? Because they are written somewhere at the bottom. Okay. So, how can you put bibliography in your LaTeX file? So, one way is, there are two methods, there are multiple methods, I have just covered two methods. One is using bib items. Okay. So, you can see bib item here. And how do we do it? What is the syntax? The method one syntax is like backslash bibliography style, and there are numerous style. I will go with plain for now. You can explore different styles. And how do you do it? Begin bibliography, okay, and then you have to end bibliography. So, and you have to put the bib item of the respective reference source you are interested in. And how can you get that bib item? You can get it from the INSPIRE. Okay. You can also write it by yourself, or you can also get it from the INSPIRE. So, INSPIRE is easy because it makes your things consistent. So, let me log in to my INSPIRE. Come on. And since you are a physicist, I recommend that you should also have an INSPIRE account. Some of you might already had it, but still. Okay. So, for example, if I want to get I want to cite this particular article, right? How can I cite this? I will open it in the INSPIRE, and then I will put cite, and there are three options. One is LaTeX, English, European English, US English, then CV HTML, and then BibTeX. So, right now I am interested in the LaTeX one. Okay. So, I have this bib item thing. I can just copy it, and I will go to my LaTeX document. I will just paste it here. Okay. I did that. So, this is how you can move things, but you can also create your custom one. So, you just have to put information in the respective sections, right. So, I have put two references here. One is the this particular reference, and second one is this Jim Latimer, and then I want to cite them. How can I cite them? So, I go to whatever place I am interested in. So, this is for demonstration purpose. It might have no meaning with this line, but I am just showing it for demonstration purpose. So, when I click here, it will show me, right, whatever bib items I have. So, I select first if I am interested in that, and in here I also want to cite some other article. I can cite multiple keys again and again, that is fine, and I want to do this, and I can also cite two articles in the same line, or maybe multiple. Okay. When I do that, you will see it is appearing here 2 1 1. Okay. You can also change the order. You have to use a different style of bibliography. You have to like different sorting mechanism. There are many options in bibliography in LaTeX. You can do that. You can also show it like a APA style, like author name at all. Right now I am only showing it in the numerical way because I like the numerical way. Okay, what else? Is there any other method I can do this thing? Yes, and that is more general. I like the other method because bib item is like bit tedious. I don't want to do that again and again. The second method is I will mute this thing first. Okay, so I mute this thing first. So let me do the second method. For this I will delete this thing here first. So right now the second method I would like to talk about is the BibTeX thing. So which is the method 2 for today. So how can I, what is the corresponding syntax? So I wrote backslash bibliography and I put a style unsort. Okay, you can do alpha, plain, APA like, or whatever you are interested in. Then I have to provide a bib file to link my LaTeX document with some bibliography repository. Okay, some resource where it can fetch the bibliography. So, what is the name of that file? Ref. So, I have to create that file. So, how can I create that file? I created new file, I put it ref and I changed the extension to bib. Okay, I created that. Now, I have that ref.bib. Now, I have to fill it with the information. So, I go again here and I cite. This time I select BibTeX and I copied this, and when I copied this I went to my presentation LaTeX file again and it automatically gets saved. Okay, now it is linked. This ref.bib is linked to my original LaTeX code and I can cite it. So, how can I cite it? Again, you do not have to put this is just for a space. Okay, you do not have to put this. So, this let me just not put it. So, how can I cite it? Cite and it will show whatever it is in the bib file like this. Okay. Similarly, you can put multiple bibliographies here, BibTeX of like corresponding sources, whatever you are interested in. You can do multiple things. So, let me just put one more so that so let me just open this randomly. Okay, I opened this particular paper and put cite, copy to clipboard. I went here again and then this. Okay, I did that. I went to my main tech and then I wanted to cite it again here somewhere. Okay, I did cite and now it will show all these the references in the bib and I put here and I reloaded it. So, when I reloaded it, it is showing me 1 and 2. So, you can see there is no space here, but there is space here because of the space here, but I will do this so that it has a consistent space throughout the document whenever I am citing something. Okay. So, this is the other way you can do things. Okay. And the last thing I want to share is I deleted this. There is another very fancy thing with Inspire you can do. So, you can just copy paste the key of the particular references you are interested in. You can just copy this here and you go here and you paste it here. Okay, and it should be consistent with Inspire. Then what you have to do, you have to download this main.tech and you go to Inspire. Okay, and you go to the bottom of this footer of Inspire website and you do this bibliography generator, and when you click on that you will see you have to upload a LaTeX file. Okay, I downloaded this LaTeX file, main.tech. Okay, and I what kind of output I want. Do I want a bib item in US language or European English, all those things, but I want BibTeX. So, I submitted it. So, it will scan through all the Inspire keys through your LaTeX document. Okay, and it will provide you a bib file. Okay, and now I can go here. I don't want to. Okay, yeah. So, I can just upload this main.bib. Okay, now main.bib is here, and since it is a main, either I can rename it here or I can do changes here. So, when I do that, I recompile, it is displaying the same thing because now in the main.bib I have all this information. So, I am showing you a minimum example, but when you are working with like 100, 500 references, then it is very useful. You do not have to like copy paste. If you remember just the Inspire key, you can do that. Also, when you are working with some paper, when you work on some extensive paper, then you have your main.bib ready. Like your one time hard work will help you throughout your life. You have like some repository of your resources, all the references. Okay, then you can do these things. So, right now you can see the final output. Okay, so these are the references 1 and 2 and these are the corresponding references printed here. Okay, you can enable the hyperlink in your document so that it is also clickable. Okay, it is clickable, but it is not highlighting like with colors. So you can also change that. So I clicked on one, it took me to the references, and in the references itself, if you enable the URL, it depends upon the style of bibliography you are interested in. You can also click on the URL and you can go through that paper, okay, which is also very useful. And I also shared about Zotero. Where is that? Zotero. Okay, so Zotero is also very powerful. For example, literature. So I will randomly open a literature, right? So I opened a literature. Now I want to save this to my Zotero library. So what I will do, I have already installed an extension. Okay, so this extension will look into my Zotero software and it will look for all the libraries, all the subfolders I have. Okay, and then it will ask me, where do you want your this paper to be submitted. Okay, I want to submit it in the SICNAP 2025. Okay, then it will scan through this whole URL. It will try to fetch the PDF. If it is open source, it is freely available, then it will embed it in this, all this here. But if it is not able to do that, then it will just forget about it. So right now you can see there is a phase stability thing here, and it has not fetched the PDF because it doesn't work for it doesn't work for the shared group, but it works for the local group. For example, if I click here, I have all the PDF. So it is very powerful reference management system. So you need to install a Zotero connector. Also, there is one thing, if you install a Google Scholar extension, the Google Scholar will find the corresponding PDF, okay, of related to that particular paper, and you can, by just clicking it, this pop-up, you can just open it. It is not opening right now because I am already in the VPN and my university has the access to the PRD journal. Okay, so I can look it directly, and I can turn that off. I don't need it anymore. Okay, and I refresh it. Now I will not be able to open that. Now it will ask for authorization money and when I click on PDF, so it will open. Okay, I think I should not share this on video. Anyways, so this is the Google Scholar thing. Okay, this thing. Okay, yeah, that was all about the tiny things which I wanted to share about bash, sbatch and LaTeX bibliography. So if you have any questions about it, now is the time. Okay, very well. I'm gonna stop this recording.